Take two.
Good morning and welcome to Clermont County Board of Commissioners boardroom here in the administration building. Prior to the start of every meeting, we always invite local clergy to come and pray for us, for our county. This morning was no exception. We had an invite to Senior Minister Todd Jefferson of the Milford Christian Church. He's unable to attend this morning, and so I will gladly fill in for him. If you would like to pray with us, please take a moment and bow your head and join me. Lord, we thank you for this day that you have made for us. We just ask now as we get ready to start this meeting that you be with those who are in attendance, that you watch over our faculty, that you give this board wisdom. Lord, we ask that you continue to watch over those who are in uniform, especially those in Police Week this week, those who wear the blue and those who wear the black and gold here in our county. Lord, we ask that you especially be with Bill Brewer's family. There is nothing that can ever replace him, and he will always be in our thoughts. Lord, we ask you to be with those first responders and those who combat this COVID-19 virus every day, Lord. We know that they're putting their family and their children in harm's way. Lord, we ask you to place your hand on them. Keep them safe. Keep them healthy and well. Lord, just now as we start this meeting, we ask that your presence be among us, that we might make the decisions for this county to move us further. And Lord, we ask that you take this virus away from the United States of America. We're a nation of Christians. We desire to do your will. Lord, it's in all things that we ask, in your Son's precious name, in Jesus' name, amen. Now we officially start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you join me? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Clermont County Board of Commissioners meeting. This beautiful day of May the 13th, 2020. And we will start with the agenda that's been prepared. We've called to order. I'd like to move item I up, county staff and elected official discussions. I understand that Julianne Nisbet is on with us this morning. Obviously, she always has an opportunity to come first in this meeting and give us an update on the COVID-19 pandemic. Julianne?
Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Commissioner, for allowing me to kind of give an update today. I'm going to be pretty brief. We are continuing to see, cases kind of come in, confirmed cases again, as additional testing opens up, as more testing becomes available, we expect that. So again, we kind of want to make sure that we're monitoring, looking at those kind of hospitalization numbers, ICU admissions, as we go over the next weeks with our businesses opening up. Friday, I think, is a big day for kind of outdoor dining, and then personal care services. So barbers, salons, hairdressers can open up starting Friday. And then we just got word yesterday that, again, that includes our tattoo, body piercing facilities, and then massage. So some massage was allowed to happen within medical facilities, but now that's being opened up. So we kind of look forward to that and working with a lot of the businesses as they get up and get going with some things. We also continue to, we've met with school superintendents over the last, several weeks, and continue to work with them on either graduations or kind of closing out their school years as they kind of get ready to wind down here within the next couple weeks on it. We do have PPE that continues to come into the county, typically about 1 to 2 shipments a week. It depends. We don't know what we're getting until typically about maybe either the day or a day before it shows up. The state lets us know what we're getting. A lot of that is still really being focused on our first responders and our congregate care settings. And then we're also continuing to receive test kits. So it's test collection kits, not like where you can do it in the lab, but where facilities can collect it. We continue to work to distribute that out to our long-term care facilities, other congregate care facilities, including our jail, to make sure that if there is a need for them to kind of rapidly do testing of a large number of population, that'll be kind of in place and ready to go. We continue to work on some regional planning too, to try to look at testing capacity across the region, what that kind of capability is as we ramp up over the next few weeks with that. So that is all I have, unless anyone has questions for me.
Julianne, what is the thing as we start to reopen the county here and we go back to some business? I won't say business as usual because obviously it won't be usual. But what's the thing that you're looking for the most? What's the thing that concerns you the most that people may not do, or you're really kind of focused in on?
So I think that social distancing is still kind of key, even though we start to go out in communities. And when we mean about social distancing, we don't mean people completely isolating themselves off, but really keeping in mind that kind of 6 foot of distancing on it. So what we're actually starting to see, and it'll be interesting over the next couple weeks as additional medical procedures have opened up, what's happening is everyone who's coming into the hospitals for different things that may have been, put off for a short period of time are being tested. And we're finding a lot of asymptomatic individuals on it. And the concern with that is, it's great that they don't have symptoms and they're, they didn't even know that they had contracted it. But the issue becomes is those asymptomatic individuals, if they are out in the community, they're out there potentially spreading it still through respiratory droplets. So that's why when we talk about the social distancing, I know there's, a lot of opinions on the mask wearing on it. But if you have 2 people and they have to be in close contact, both of them having, facial coverings drastically reduces that amount of disease transmission. So, as we work towards those restaurants kind of opening up, they're going to still consider social distancing and keeping your party on it, and again, if we're within kind of our own party and our own household, we can be closer together. But we want to stay separate from others as we kind of, open up and start to go back to businesses, and just keeping that in mind. Still a lot of concern for our high risk individuals, who are out there, and you don't know who those people are. And I think that's a concern. It's, I think it's one thing to, maybe you can identify a person if they're elderly, but you don't necessarily know about a person who's immune compromised, who may have some additional chronic health conditions that if they contracted, it can be pretty severe and potentially fatal for them. So I think that's the general concern that we have. I think it can be done. It's why we really kind of wait on some of the guidance that's coming out and making sure we're trying to get that out. And making sure people understand it and just be here to answer questions for individuals.
And it's really kind of a culture shift of, accepting that as, normal practice and then following through on it.
Yeah, it's definitely different in its adjustment for a lot of us. I mean, we are social beings by nature. We handshake, we hug. It's in our nature to do that. So it is a little bit different. And, I still go home and hug my daughter, you still have to have some of that physical contact that's in there. But we just want to make sure that we're not kind of, if potentially I have, germs or something, I don't want to be out there spreading that to others.
And then from the medical side, I know you're in contact, all the way to the state of Ohio. Any information, we've heard a lot about people who are asymptomatic. We've heard people who have this particular virus or they carry those antibodies. Any long-term from this? In my specific question is like, malaria. Long-term is there can be a recourse to that. Is anything started to show like that, or has there been any projections?
Not that, so I think you're seeing some minor things that are starting to come out from the research, but the numbers are still just so small on that. And I don't know that we've allowed really enough time at this point to have really any type of conclusive information, about kind of either long-term impacts. There's still some question about, level of immunity that may occur. And I think as more people are tested, as more research is done on that, we'll have more information coming probably over the next few months or so. I just don't know that we have enough now to really say anything definitive.
Thanks, Julianne. Anybody have any other questions for her? Thanks so much for taking time out. I know you're busy.
Thank you.
We'll continue with the agenda. B, approval of regular session minutes for May the 6th, 2020. Board, I know you've had these minutes early, had a chance to review them and ask for clarifications or changes. Do I have a motion for approval of the minutes of May the 6th, 2020?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Anything further? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran,
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey,
Aye.
Mr. Painter,
Yes. We have one proclamation this morning or two?
just one,
Just one?
but two presentations.
Morning. Morning. Are you, you gotta stay socially distanced, okay? You can come about right there. All right. Okay, well, we got, get you on the camera there.
Morning.
And it is Bill DeHaas, right?
Correct.
Thanks you for being here. You're the Director of Community Services and you'll be accepting the As Clermont County is a community that includes more than 40,000 citizens, 60 years of age and older. Wait a minute. I'm in that group.
I didn't say it.
I know. Whereas older adults in Clermont County are the foundation upon which our communities are formed, who bestow gifts of wisdom upon younger generations and continue to strengthen our communities with their influence. Whereas the theme for Older Americans Month, Make Your Mark, highlights the difference everyone can make in the lives of older adults in support of caregivers and to strengthen community. Creating and bolstering the fiber of the community in our nation. And whereas we have a responsibility within our community to recognize and respect the hard work and sacrifice older Americans have contributed by working to enrich their quality of life. Now, therefore, let it be proclaimed that we, the Board of Clermont County Commissioners, I proclaim the month of May 2020 as Older Americans Month. And it's signed by David Painter, President, Edwin H. Humphrey, Vice President, and Claire B. Corcoran, member. Bill, on behalf of the Clermont County Commissioners, I'd like to present you this proclamation for Older Americans Month in Clermont County. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
And the podium is yours if you'd like to make some comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Painter. Older Americans Month is definitely a special month for us at Clermont Senior Services, but with this pandemic, it's kind of thrown us and everyone for a bit of a loop. But we are still providing all of our critical home-based services to those seniors that wish for us to continue providing them with services. We were set for a record year for our lifelong learning centers. Attendance has really seen an increase over the last few months, but we've had to do a bit of an about face. But I will say that we are continuing to move forward. We understand that our lifelong learning and our adult daycare services will probably not be opening for the foreseeable future. So, we have moved to offer a lot of virtual interaction opportunities. Just a week or so ago, we had a really wonderful cooking class that we had a lot of our older adults show up to on Zoom. So we were pleased to see that. I guess one thing as far as the theme goes, make your mark. I oversee our volunteer program, which consists of a lot of older adults that have retired and still want to make their mark in the community. And of course, the pandemic has changed a little bit of that volunteering process, but we are so pleased to have the volunteers that we have in this community that go out and help our older adults, continue to interact with them. And it's just amazing. I guess the last thing I'd like to say is that if there's any older adults here in Clermont County listening today, if there's anything that you have that you need assistance with, please call us, 724-1255. We'd be happy to see what we can do to assist you. And lastly, thank you.
Thank you,
Bill.
Bill. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
We'll move to D, presentations. I understand we have a presentation from the Greater Cincinnati Behavioral Health Services, Alicia Fine, Vice President of Employment and Recovery Services. And she's going to talk to us about the Community Alternative Sentencing Center. And she's going to overview the 2019 CASC Annual Report. Alicia, are you on?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see everybody, even if it's Zoom. Thanks for having me today. Yes, I am here to talk to you a little bit about an overview of our CASC program. Karen Shara, I believe, is on the line as well. And I just wanted to make sure she was introduced as well in case she wants to chime in. She's the president of the Clermont County Mental Health and Recovery Board. So strong supporter of the effort that we're doing there at the CASC program. So there is a PowerPoint. I'm not sure if we're going to project that or not. Great. All right. So hopefully everyone can see that. Yes, so thank you for the opportunity again for allowing me to speak a few minutes today. I know I have 15 minutes, so I'm going to keep track of time today. Okay, so the Clermont County Community Alternative Sentencing Center is an outpatient treatment program. It provides comprehensive behavioral health services to individuals who are referred from the Clermont County Municipal Court System. GCB has been managing this program since 2015 when we started with a men's unit, and then 2017 when we introduced with additional funding the women's unit. This program's success really relies on the partnerships that really bring the systems together. The Board of County Commissioners, Clermont County Municipal Court, the County Jail, the Probation Department, Clermont County Mental Health and Recovery Services Board, and then of course our staff as well. So that really is a guiding flagship in terms of our program success. If you go back to that previous slide, sorry. Thank you. So the program provides comprehensive services, just to hit a few highlights and remind everyone of the things that we're doing. We're providing comprehensive substance use disorder treatment, individual group counseling, and education type groups. We have case management services. We're providing addiction medicine, medication assisted treatment programming there at the site. That coupled with our nursing program, where we're also helping individuals managing just physical health issues at times. Employment services, we're helping individuals to think about work, go back to work, prepare for work after they get released from the program and successfully complete. We do provide on-site mental health services and counseling services to help with it. Some of those issues that individuals have in a co-occurring mental health issues. Recovery supports, we have individuals who have lived experience in providing recovery supports to our clientele, as well as community support. So sober support systems, Celebrate Recovery, AA, and NA are coming onto the site to facilitate support groups to get people prepared and connected to the community. You can go to the next slide. This is just a quick sample of the program's schedule. You can see that our goal in this is to keep the program pretty structured. People are up and about, and to really create a day that reflects a typical day. Individuals do reside at the site and stay for the entire time that they're there. We work to really integrate the treatment aspect along with this educational component, along with recovery supports to try to holistically look at individuals and help them with developing coping skills and strategies to move towards recovery. Individuals in the program must have a substance use disorder as a primary diagnosis. So a lot of that work is really around recovery strategies and treatment. The milieu, the unit is like a therapeutic milieu. So we're consistently using each interaction as a teachable moment or a therapeutic effort to try to, again, deal with interaction, deal with interpersonal skills, help individuals to learn to manage anger or just conflict in general. So that's an example of what our schedule looks like. I'm going to go to the next slide. So each individual that's referred participates in a comprehensive diagnostic assessment so that we can understand their needs, their mental health needs, their substance use needs, and try to create an individualized plan for them. Let me see here, sorry. So as we looked at referrals in the last year, so this data is reflective of a calendar year 2019, so January 1 through December 31st. There were 367 individuals who were assessed, who went through that comprehensive assessment. 315 of those individuals were accepted into the program, meaning they met that eligibility criteria that they met. They did have a substance use disorder as a primary diagnosis. Although you can see in the total there, 78 individuals were accepted to the program of that 315, but they later declined to participate. So we, in this process, individuals are ready, more or less ready. So sometimes, because it's a voluntary program, sometimes individuals are eligible and then get to the point where they make a decision not to participate. In addition, there were another 52 clients, I believe, yes, who were, and in addition, sometimes the court system will just determine that the program is not appropriate for a client, even though they were eligible. So there are some of those individuals who were accepted, but then later a different decision was made during the court process. And then 52 individuals were denied the program. So either many reasons could lead to this decision. Sometimes individuals just don't have a substance use disorder. That is a very small number of people. The primary issue people are denied entry into the program is either they have a significant physical medical condition that requires constant or intensive medical support, and we do not have that type of staffing, or individuals have a significant history of violence and we're not able to support them in that kind of therapy. So overall, 315 clients were accepted. You can go on to the next slide. So when we looked at our client demographics, the data point that is not on that previous slide and here should be on that slide is the number of admissions. So 243 individuals were admitted, 177 men and 177 men and 66 women, for a total of 243 served and admitted in the program. Disorder as a primary eligibility criteria. So for men who were admitted into the program, 61% of those individuals had an alcohol use disorder. And then 25% of those men admitted had an opioid use disorder. And for women, we saw just the reverse. 44% of the women had a primary opioid use disorder. And then 30% of those women had an alcohol use disorder as their primary diagnosis. Then we also, because that assessment is a comprehensive assessment, we're looking at this individual as a whole. So when we're looking for any other co-occurring mental health issues. So we did find that of the men admitted, 30% had a co-occurring mental health issue. And 59% of the women who were admitted had a co-occurring mental health issue. So it's just really important to recognize we're dealing with, supporting an individual as a whole and really looking at comprehensive services to try to address all of their needs. The primary diagnosis, co-occurring mental health diagnosis for men was depression, followed by post-traumatic stress disorder. And then again, just the reverse for women. So the primary mental health issue was post-traumatic stress disorder, followed by depression. So complex individuals with complex needs. The average age of the program, men were 37 years old and women were 34 years old. We have a range of 19 years old to 67 years old. We did see that 78% of the men admitted had a high school education or higher, and 77% of the women had a high school education or higher. Then we took a look at length of stay. And so individuals can stay in the program from as short as 5 days up to a 90-day program. And that's really determined at the sentencing process through the court system. And those needs are uniquely decided based on the needs of the person. So when we looked at a length of stay, 59% of the men who were admitted stayed 3 days or less, and 61% of the women stayed 30 days or less. So when we think about those two numbers, I think we have been working really hard this year to tailor our program even more to meet the needs of these shorter term individuals, these individuals who are staying a month. We have a month to make an impact. We have a month to reach them. We have a month to, really get them on the road to recovery, and then looking at trying to link them appropriately as we move forward and they become discharged. Okay, if you can go to the next slide. Okay, this is just an overview, a visual picture of the substance use disorder diagnoses. It's just a visual. You can kind of see the varied alcohol use disorder as the primary for men and opioid use disorder as the primary for women. Move on. So quickly hitting some highlights. Our goal is to engage individuals and for them to take away new skills and new thinking around their recovery. We consider successful completion as an effort for individuals to have completed the program as they were expected to, meaning they stayed the entire length of time and completed the programming that was planned for them at admission. So we have a great rate of people staying in the program and completing the program. 93% of men and 94% of the women did in fact stay the entire time. Linkage to services, again, because we're doing some shorter term treatment intervention, we want to be sure that people are linked to services. We are most able to track services that are linked back to our main site at the Clermont Recovery Center. So 72% of the men who were in the program and 61% of the women were linked to our programming back at the main site. When we looked at of those individuals who were linked, meaning that they presented for treatment at the site, when we looked at engagement, ongoing service, we have much better rates. So if we can get them to the site to connect to service, we see higher rates of participation at 90 days. So 88% of the men and 92% of the women were still engaged at 90 days, and many are still in ongoing treatment. Medication-assisted treatment is a key part of service that we're offering. Not all individuals would be eligible or would be appropriate for medication-assisted treatment. We start that in the program, and as individuals are discharged, we link them back into our Clermont Recovery Center site in Batavia And you can see that our success rate at transitioning those individuals is high. 94% of the men and 100% of the women did in fact engage in those services. And we expect to see that. Sometimes individuals choose to look at other organizations or go to other treatment programs. So they're not required to link back to our main site, but we do hope that they do that. The employment program inside the CASC program is a preparation type of a program, looking at helping people get ready for employment. Individuals who don't have employment have access to the Aspire Employment Program, which is here at the Clermont Recovery Center as well. And 98% of the people who were linked or referred engaged in that program. We had some great successes this year. The average hours of people who went to work was about 35 hours a week, and their $63. They're in various jobs, assembler, technician, cashier, server, home health aide. We saw a lot of the trades of types of jobs that people were getting, a lot of server, cashier, customer service type representative. We're having some really good success with individuals who are interested in employment, and they can be supported in that effort through that employment program. Our average daily census, that should say daily there, we've been tracking this for several years. Our average daily census for the men's unit is 19 men. Our capacity is 25. And the average census for women is 12, and our average daily census for 2019 was 8. And these are actually pretty consistent for the last, when we look at the timeframes over the years, mostly hovering around 18 to 19 for the men and 7 to 8 for the women. And then finally, average daily cost. This is also relatively consistent, or as we've been tracking this data. Last year it was $60.89 a day, and then this year it is $60.90 a day per person. Okay, we can move on. So just very quickly hitting some program highlights. We had some new leadership this year. So Heather Kokel is the director now, who's managing the clinical supervisor. Sarah Codris joined us in July. And so we've really spent the year working towards really program enhancement, partnerships, communication, and collaboration. The program continues to lead the state in the innovative model. We had several outside entities come and tour and talk with us about some of how we've structured the CASC program. Based on just these conversations, I think we should really, appreciate the efforts across this county, because we really have held the model very solidly to its intention, and that's so much a result of the partnerships that we have. Interactive collaboration, we have been deeply connected to the probation division and then the OVI court team, really meeting regularly, developing relationships with the probation officers and looking at our services and their services as a team. So there's lots of communication and lots of direct planning around client needs and discharge and just supports, which I feel like has really benefited the program overall. We focus on training for staff, again, some enhancement of training and some new training to just continue to build those clinical skills and really give them the strength and the strength of skill to manage the unit really kind of on a consistent basis. In terms of its therapeutic effort and really using the environment as a therapeutic tool. Next slide. We worked alongside the jail and probation also to really look at our registration process to make sure that we are very clear in our participant expectations. We have been looking at safety, strategies around safety and for clients and staff. And then we developed a few zero tolerance type of stances so that clients, when they come into the program, have a clear expectation. They know what the rules are. They're able to be fully informed and then fully engage in what we're asking them to do. And that has really paid off in the process. And then again, some enhanced programming because individuals we're seeing such shorter stays as an average. Last year, we identified the need to target programming and we developed a specific OVI court track for those individuals who were coming out of that process. That has been, I feel like, very positive. We have an individual counselor who's connected directly to the court team, and we've seen just much more success with those individuals, much more client satisfaction across the board with that unique track within the program. We had a number of groups that were added by client request. Last year, they were talking more about family interaction and mental health needs. So we added groups to help address those things more directly. So we've wrapped a lot of new groups into the program this year. Additionally, we had several requests for non-faith-based recovery support groups from the community. So we've worked really hard to bring some of those programs into the site so that we can reach a broader audience. Yeah, so I think that's the end of the slideshow. I will tell you that one of the things that we track is client feedback. And we have had some real positive feedback this year. 93% of the clients felt that the program was very helpful, felt that their counselor was helpful, and felt like the program had a passion to help them move along and move forward in their recovery. We always had feedback about food. They would like new food and would love to have some coffee on site, things like that. But we've had really good success with client interaction. In addition, one final comment, we also look at recidivism as a factor to think about how the program might be having an impact on the system. This year, we were a bit more delayed than we had been given some of the circumstances with COVID to get that data together. It's a very manual process. So we're finishing that data and it will be ready in a week or so. So I will provide that data in a revised report so that you have that. But that's a collaborative effort between the probation department and our staff. Lots of manual work to get to that data. So we will submit a revised report so that you have that data. Karen, I didn't know if you wanted to add anything.
Alicia, just a question.
Yes.
Do you calculate those recidivism rates? What are the parameters on that? Is that, and I'll just give it for instance, is that someone that completes the program and doesn't have another touch with a law agency in 1 year? Or, I mean, what is the, what do you actually look at?
That is it. I think we look at 1 year post discharge to see who has had an interaction and to what extent that interaction is in terms of connecting back into the criminal justice system.
And one of the other things just to touch on there, especially for people who are, watching live, is that, how many counties now within the state of Ohio actually use that allowance in the legislation to actually run and operate a CAS center?
Well, I couldn't tell you the exact number of people who call themselves CASC. We have met several who are utilizing the name Community Alternative Sentencing Center, which is the statute in the law. But what we've realized is the model that's being used is varied, and I would say that we are very pure to the statute's intention, and we've done a really good job as a system to really stay true to that. But I know of at least 2 others that are calling themselves CASC, but they operate very differently. And Karen, I don't know if you have a few more bigger insights on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were really interested in finding out the other ones who said they were running a CASC so that we could learn from them. And quite honestly, we were somewhat appalled by them because of how it is working. And I think probation and the courts had a very similar reaction because it is not really treatment focused. It's sort of holding people in a place. And we are definitely about treatment and breaking the cycle, both of addiction and offending against the law. So that's what we are keeping our program focused on. The only other things I was going to add real quickly was that because of the COVID situation, people coming into the jail are limited now. We've had to pretty much suspend our linkage program, and a lot of the community people who were coming into CASC to help with doing different programming also cannot come in. But I think the staff has been very creative. They've used a lot of Zoom meetings. They've used their own staff to do things so that the amount of programming and treatment services that the CASC clients are getting has not been adversely affected. So I was very happy to see that. And so we know that people are still very much benefiting from their time there. And that's all I was going to add.
And Karen, just while I've got you on there, one of the things we'd be remiss on is that, CASC is a piece of that programming and that availability. Alicia touched on CRC and people having follow-on care with the Aspire program. But, another one of those pieces, and I'll just let you put a plug in for that, is definitely Merwin House and definitely the women's facility that some people who graduate from CASC who don't want to go back into living in the environment that they come from, choose that. Could you just talk about that for a second?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have been trying over the last probably decade almost to really get a full continuum of care for people dealing with addiction, particularly on the opioid side. And one of the things we were lacking was recovery housing. So in the last several years, we now have a home for men and one for women that are run by GCB. And several of the graduates of CASC have ended up being in those homes and have been very successful. Those homes provide that peer support ongoing and commitment to staying sober that people often need and don't get if they go back to living with friends or family and such. So we're really excited that we have those. The goal is to have more so that there are more opportunities for people to live in a sober setting in the community. So we will be, continually working on that. But having those kind of options for people coming out so that they can continue that focus on themselves and their recovery is a great asset to the community. So, and some of them go to ones that are not connected with our system, which is also good. They're free, obviously, to choose where they want to go. But that is, I think, a very important piece of continuing services for people. So thanks for bringing it up, Commissioner.
Thank you. And Alicia, thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate your presence here, even though it's, by virtual reality.
Yes. Thank you so much, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. I understand we have another presentation this morning. Clermont County Soil and Water Conservation District, Rebecca McClatchy, the Natural Resource Specialist, and is going to be conducting an award for the 2020 Spring Litter Cleanup Annual Logo Design Contest winner.
This is John McManus, District Administrator for the Soil and Water Conservation District. I'd like to give a brief introduction on Becky's behalf. I'd like to welcome everybody to our 2020 award presentation for the Spring Litter Cleanup. Thanks to the board for including us in today's session. And I'd like to do a brief round of introductions. I believe we have with us in the meeting, we have Becky McClatchy, our Natural Resource Specialist and Event Coordinator, Vanessa Hanna, the Executive Director with Valley View Foundation, Hannah Lubers, the Director of the county's Office of Environmental Quality and Solid Waste District, And we have our 3 event sponsors. We have Andrea Bohannon from Duke Energy, Carrie McIntosh Owens from the Southern Ohio Association of Realtors, and Jeff Blome from the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We are here today to honor the winner of our annual logo design contest for the spring litter cleanup. The litter cleanup is a long-running annual event that's organized by Soil and Water, Office of Environmental Quality, and Valley View Foundation, where we call on volunteers to gather at different sites along the East Fork Little Miami River, its tributaries, our parks, and clean the banks and the parks of unsightly trash and litter. I'd like to thank our sponsors. Of course, without them, neither the event nor the logo design contest would be possible. Our event sponsors, again, are Duke Energy, Southern Ohio Association of Realtors, and the Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'd also like to acknowledge the municipalities, the townships, Clermont County Park District, and others that partner with us on this annual event. And I guess without any further introductions, I'd like to hand this over to Vanessa Hanna with the Valley View Foundation.
Thank you, John. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, commissioners, and everyone who's sharing some time this morning to help us celebrate Ellie's fabulous design. She did a fantastic job. I think for all of us who work on this event, looking at the artwork and getting the opportunity to celebrate some great creativity and effort from a young artist is one of the highlights of being involved. So we appreciate all of you being with us today. As John mentioned, this event, the Spring Litter Cleanup, is a countywide event that has enjoyed success for 25 years, a long-running event. Your support, the support of our partnering agencies and different communities, and the site coordinators or litter champions, if you will, at all of those communities that make it all happen, they deserve the credit for the success of this. We can't do it without them. We clean up, as has been mentioned in the past, we clean up areas at East Fork State Park, Stone Lick State Park. We have some communities that every year have that site coordinator and volunteers. They rally the volunteers in places such as Milford, Miami Township, Williamsburg, Bethel, Felicity, Pierce Township, Owensville, New Richmond, and more. We just can't do it without them. The volunteers that we enjoy having help us are wide ranging in age and where they come from. We have families, we have individuals, friend groups, 4-H, scout groups, school groups, organizations such as the Buckeye United Fly Fishermen. They come out and help. All these folks just kind of have a shared interest in helping in their community, sharing a bit of their time, and also taking care of our natural spaces and waterways. So we're very fortunate to have them all and the people that help us coordinate all the activity. Last year in 2019, we had a little more than 450 volunteers who shared a little bit of their Saturday morning with us. The event is condensed, it's 2 to 3 hours. But with that, we saw over 1,300 of volunteer service hours. And, there's some power in numbers in that succinct amount of time with a great effort from over the course of, I think we had 11 or 12 sites last year. We collected 3.2 tons of litter and debris. So that was very impactful. We do it each year and we'll continue to do so. We're excited about it, all the help that we get. One of the things that we kind of, every year, 25 years is a long time. You have to keep things kind of fresh in these events so that people keep coming out and keep coming to help. And so in 2015, we were talking about how do we reach out to our local schools and expand our messaging with respect to litter prevention, litter awareness, and also, reaching kids of all ages. We reach out K through 12 in terms of community volunteerism and finding and kind of personalizing their efforts in their own communities. So we thought the art contest would be a lot of fun. And like I said, it's a highlight. We get probably on an average of about 50 submissions every year from K through 12 students. It's a great honor to be able to look at all the creativity and their hearts and souls that they put on paper. So it's a great thing to see happen. And when we think about the success of the art competition, one of the reasons, or the logo competition, we've done t-shirts, we've done bottles. We can't do it without the teachers and the folks in the schools, such as Amy Hauserman this year. Thank you, Amy from New Richmond, for encouraging the kids to participate, because it's, they touch them and interact with them each day. We don't have quite that reach, but if we get to the teachers and the administrators to help us promote the idea and have them give back to their communities, that's really helpful. So we're so appreciative of that. And as I said, the creativity is it's really rewarding just to look at it and to get to see it all. So with that, I am going to hand the baton off to Andrea Bohannon of Duke Energy, who has the pleasure of recognizing and awarding this year's winning prize, and to give a little recognition to both Ellie and Amy. So Andrea?
Thank you so much. Good morning, commissioners, community partners.
Morning.
I do thank you for this opportunity. Duke Energy is a proud supporter of the annual spring litter cleanup event, and the local design contest is a fun element to be a part of. The Duke Energy Foundation is committed to making strategic investments to build powerful communities where nature and wildlife thrive. Students can excel, and a talented workforce drives economic prosperity for all. The SLC event aligns perfectly with two of our giving priorities, that's K to career education and nature, supporting programs that engage students in STEAM education and protect and restore natural resources. The Spring Litter Cleanup Event logo contest combines art and creativity with science and environmental awareness. We all know how busy school administrators and teachers are with requirements and keeping up with the day-to-day. So we truly appreciate when principals and teachers take the extra time to encourage their students to take a chance and participate in an effort that is above and beyond their normal skill sets. It is our hope that having students participate in local community programs like the Spring Litter Cleanup Event will foster a long-term individual interest and commitment to stay involved in their communities as adults. Today, we'd like to recognize and thank Miss Amy Hauserman, New Richmond High School art teacher, Tracy Miller, New Richmond School District, and Timothy Cook, New Richmond art teacher. Ms. Hauserman has been a steady supporter of the Spring Litter Cleanup event over the years, and many of her students have submitted entries since the project started. A few facts and the quotes from Amy. Amy has been a teacher for 24 years and has been teaching high school art with New Richmond for 14 years now. Amy encourages her students to participate in the Spring Litter Cleanup event every year. And a quote from Amy: "It is an opportunity for the school and students to help support an important community event and allow students to share their best art skills." Amy believes that by teaching students to value keeping their surroundings clean, we can continue to live in a safe and healthy environment for years to come. We are pleased to award New Richmond High School with a $100 award. Congratulations. And I will show you guys the award here. Not sure if you can see that or not. Oops, sorry about that. That did not work well.
It's like gold.
I'm sorry.
It looked
There
like
we go.
a.
Thank you so much. So congratulations again to the student Ellie Arcus for her amazing art design that she's provided. And for the next presentation, I'd like to introduce Ms. Carrie McIntosh Owens with the Southern Ohio Association of Realtors to present the Student Grand Prize Award.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me this morning. With the Southern Ohio Association of Realtors is also a proud sponsor of the annual Spring Litter Cleanup event, and I believe this is our 5th or 6th year as a sponsor, and I'm very excited to have the opportunity to present the Grand Prize Award today. It's wonderful that we are still moving forward with this award presentation as our schools obviously look a little bit different this spring semester. So a little bit about the Southern Ohio Association of Realtors. We're otherwise known as SOAR. So SOAR is committed to have a positive influence in the communities we serve, and the Spring Litter Cleanup is truly an important event that helps to protect our local resources that make Clermont County such a unique place to live and to work. As a Realtor Association, we have made a commitment to not only provide services to our clients who are searching for homes and properties, but also to advocate for our area realtors and property ownership rights. As Vanessa shared, the T-shirt design contest is a really neat opportunity for students to showcase their talent. And we appreciate the support from the local schools for this event, as we are always impressed by the designs that are submitted by the students. We're always really impressed with all the creativity that is shown. So all kindergarten through seniors and high schools across Clermont County are eligible to participate. The student with the winning design receives a $100 cash prize, and their logo is used for the Spring Litter Cleanup t-shirt and promotional materials. In addition to the grand prize, we also award each grade level award winner with a $25 cash prize. Today, we would like to congratulate Ellie Arcus, a 10th grader from New Richmond High School. I see that Ellie is on with us today. So Ms. Hauserman, Ellie's art teacher, shared a quote with us, and she says, "I'm so excited for Ellie. She is incredibly talented, and her design reflects her enthusiasm for art and genuine care for our community, and she is truly an inspiration." Ellie is very well-rounded, talented, and a busy young adult. In addition to being an incredible artist, Ellie is also involved in cross-country running, swimming, track, and the chemistry club. This summer, Ellie plans to work on assignments for an advanced art portfolio. She hopes to be back doing cross-country this fall and starting a college credit plus class. A quote from Ellie regarding the event and the design contest. She says, "I think the Spring Litter Cleanup is a good way to get people involved while helping the environment. I'm glad I won, and I wasn't expecting it." Ellie, on behalf of the event sponsors and coordinators, we would like to present you with a certificate of achievement and also a $100 check for your grand prize. So Ellie, what I've done, so there's your little check. And then I also framed your certificate to present to you. So congratulations. The Clermont County Commissioners have been a wonderful supporter of the Spring Litter Cleanup and the Student Design Contest. The Commissioner also have certificates to acknowledge Ellie's achievement and Ms. Hauserman's involvement with the program. So congratulations, New Richmond, and also to Ellie. And I'd like to hand over the presentation back to Board President, Commissioner Painter.
Thank you. And as you mentioned, the Board of Commissioners have prepared certificates of recognition, and I will come up and read them. David, if you can get a shot of each one of those so that Amy Hauserman and Ellie can both see their certificates. First certificate is for Amy Hauserman. This certificate of recognition is awarded to you, Amy Hauserman. Congratulations on being an outstanding art teacher at New Richmond High School, my alma mater, and inspiring Ellie Arcus to create her award-winning design for the 2020 Spring Litter Cleanup Logo Design Contest. And it's signed by the Board of Clermont County Commissioners, David L. Painter, President, Edwin H. Humphrey, Vice President, and Claire B. Corcoran, member. And this is the certificate you will be receiving. And then in addition to our award winner, Ellie, certificate of recognition has been prepared for Ellie Arcus. Congratulations on your award-winning design for the 2020 Spring Litter Cleanup Logo Design Contest. Clermont County Commissioners, this 13th day of March 2020, signed by David L. Painter, President, Edwin H. Humphrey, Vice President, and Claire B. Corcoran, member. Ellie, on behalf of the Board of Clermont County Commissioners, congratulations. We wish you could be do.
This is John McManus, Soil and Water Administrator. I think we have Jeff from the Convention and Visitors Bureau to talk a little bit about how we're going to handle this year's event.
Good morning. Thank you, commissioners, partners, and all of our guests today. I'd like to congratulate Ellie as well as Ms. Hauserman. Some fantastic artwork, and we're certainly glad that you won and glad that you submitted your entry. And certainly it goes to show your talent. So thank you very much. The Clermont County Convention and Visitors Bureau has long supported the Spring Litter Cleanup event and efforts to promote litter prevention and natural resources protection. As was mentioned earlier, the abundance and quality of natural resources, particularly our water resources at Harsha Lake, make Clermont County a unique destination. The lake itself attracts many people and events to the region, such as U.S. Rowing National Championships and American Canoe Association National Championships for Canoe and Kayak. There are many opportunities for residents and visitors to enjoy outdoor recreation. Efforts like the Spring Litter Cleanup draw attention to our natural resources and the amenities that they provide. The event encourages our communities to protect local resources for future generations. The Spring Litter Cleanup goes a long way in terms of fostering the type of environmental stewardship needed to keep Clermont County a desirable place to live, work, and play. Many of the Clermont County communities and partner organizations that are involved with the Spring Litter Cleanup are eager and excited to move forward with cleanup activities this year. This year's event will be a virtual cleanup. We are asking individuals and families to choose an area in their community or a local park to clean up between the dates of July 4th and July 25th this year. Many people are already outside hiking on the trails, walking in their local parks, and even out canoeing on the Little Miami River. We anticipate a large number of people will be excited to take part in this virtual cleanup and do their part for Clermont County. More details on the event and how volunteers can register online will be shared in the coming weeks. The CVB is proud to be involved, and we look forward to seeing pictures of folks this July enjoying the outdoors and giving back to their communities. With that, Hannah Lubers, Director for the Clermont County Office of Environmental Quality, has just a few closing remarks for us.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me here today. Before I end in this ceremony, I would like to see if Ellie or Ms. Hosserman would like to say anything.
I would just like to say thank you to the commissioner for taking the time to present this special award to Ellie. She is a remarkable student. She sees every challenge that I give her, and she is absolutely incredible. She's won 2 awards this year, including this one, and she's the only student that I've taught in the past 24 years that has ever done that. So I'm just so proud of her, and I look forward to having her in class again next year and all of the amazing things that she has coming toward our future. So thank you, Ellie.
If Ellie's on there, can she wave hi to us?
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for the award and thank you, Ms. Hazelman.
Hi, Ellie. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ellie.
Congratulations, Ellie.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, in conclusion, I just want to do one last round of thank yous. This is Hannah Loopers with the Office of Environmental Quality. Specifically, thank you to Ellie. You seem like a very impressive young lady. Sounds like you have a bright future in front of you. Thank you to her mom, Miss Hauserman, and the New Richmond School faculty and administrators for all joining us today. We really appreciate everything that you do in education and supporting efforts like the spring litter cleanup to promote environmental stewardship in Clermont County. Thank you to the Clermont County Commissioners and all of the event sponsors for supporting the spring litter cleanup and being here today to acknowledge Lee and Ms. Halserman. This event has been going on strong for over 25 years, and I want to say this wouldn't be possible to continue without all of the partners involved, including the Clermont County Park District, the state parks, OSU Extension, and the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, which helps fund a lot of the promotional materials that this impressive artwork that Ellie designed will be displayed on. This is one of those initiatives that everyone that participates looks forward to every year, and I'm proud personally to be part of it. We've been pleased to see more and more groups and communities come on board every year because it's such a fun opportunity to take place. Because of all of the partnerships across the county with all of the communities and different agencies and individuals involved, this is why we've been able to transition this event to a virtual activity during these unique times. So thank you again to everyone that's been involved, and please stay tuned to the SLC Spring Litter Cleanup or Summer Cleanup website for more information, and you can also see the county's Facebook page about more updates for the July event to take place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for everybody being here today and being on with us. We really appreciate your participation. And again, congratulations, Ellie, and to you, Ms. Hauserman. Congratulations. With that, we'll move to E of our agenda. A board of consent agenda has been prepared for you. I know you've had it in advance, had the opportunity to review the items. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda for further conversation or discussion?
None.
Not for me.
Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
A second.
It's been moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Judy.
Humphrey.
Aye.
Corcoran. Yes. Rayner.
Yes. And we'll go on with F, the non-consent agenda, which starts on page 3 with item 4. Item 4 is a recommendation that the Board of Clermont County Commissioners adopt resolution number 063-20, resolving to approve payment to vendors in the amount of $1,578,872 as set forth in the BCC approval invoice reports for checks dated May 13, 2020, the BCC directed prepaid invoice reports and/or the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on May 11, 2020, and further authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants for the same pursuant to section 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Judy.
Corcoran. Yes. Humphrey.
Aye.
Rayner.
Yes. Item 5.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is Connie Tibby with the Department of Job and Family Services. Item number 5 is the recommendation of Timothy Dick, Director of the Department of Job and Family Services, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to execute a 4D contract signed between the Clermont County Department of Job and Family Services, Batavia, Ohio, for the purchase of services as outlined therein, including conducting hearings relative to 40 matters on behalf of the Department of Job and Family Services, Division of Child Support Enforcement, at a rate of $106.38 per unit, with a unit being one hearing, for a total of 2,900 units, for a total amount not to exceed $308,506.76, effective April 1st, 2020 through March 31st, 2021, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions specified therein, and contingent upon the release of the required purchase order in concert with requisition number 3033-00 dated April 30th, 2020, relative thereto.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 5. Do I have a motion for approval?
I move that we approve item number 5.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Anything further? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Corcoran. Yes. Hannah.
Yes. Item 6.
Item number 6 is the recommendation of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to authorize Timothy Dick, Director of Department of Job and Family Services, to execute an Ohio Department of Job and Family Services Title 4E Child Placement Agreement and addendum thereto, consisting of amendment numbers 1 through 3, by and between the County of Clermont, Ohio, and the Department of Mental Health, Cincinnati Children's College Hill Campus, also known as Children's Hospital Medical Center, located in Cincinnati, Ohio, operating a residential facility in Cincinnati, Ohio, for the provision of residential treatment services for children referred by the Department of Job and Family Services and/or Clermont County Juvenile Court at the rate of $445.88 per day. It's effective July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions specified therein, and contingent upon the release and receipt of a current Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation certificate of employer's right to pay compensation directly, a current certificate of liability insurance, as well as the required purchase order in concert with requisition number 2830-00 dated April 7, 2020, relative thereto.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 6. Do I have a motion for approval?
Make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Anything further? Roll call, Judy.
Corcoran. Yes. Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes. Item 7.
Recommendation of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to authorize Timothy Dick, Director of Department of Job and Family Services, to execute an Ohio Department of Job and Family Services Title 4E Child Placement Agreement and addendum thereto, consisting of amendment numbers 1 through 3, by and between the County of Clermont, Ohio, and Safe House Ministries Incorporated, doing business as Safe House Residential Services, located in Youngstown, Ohio, for the provision of residential treatment and group home services for children referred by the Department of Job and Family Services and/or Clermont County Juvenile Court at the rates as outlined therein. It's effective June the 8th, 2020 through June 7th, 2021, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions specified therein, and contingent upon the release of a current Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation certificate and the required purchase order in concert with requisition number 2971-00 dated April 23rd, 2020, relative thereto.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 7. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Corcoran. Yes. Mr. Hannah.
Yes. Item 8.
Thank you.
Thanks, Connie.
That'd be a item number 8, recommendation of myself, Greg Bickford, Assistant County Administrator, to approve the following request from the Department of Community and Economic Development to join a professional organization and to authorize payment of the annual dues in the amount outlined below for membership therein pursuant to section 325.21 of the Ohio Revised Code, and to authorize reimbursement for routine travel expenses associated therewith, excluding expenses for overnight accommodation, meals for more than 1 day, registration fees, tuition, and/or transportation by common carrier, pursuant to the policies and procedures of the Board of County Commissioners and in compliance with the annual appropriations for fiscal year 2020 and any and all amendments subsequent thereto. And this is for Sherry Smarr to join the National Community Development Association in the amount of $1,545, starting July 1st, 2020, running through June 30th, 2021.
And this will be for Sherry Smar.
That's correct. This is another professional organization to help with CDBG.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 8 for professional organization membership. Do I have a motion for approval?
Make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second.
Corcoran. Yes. Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Painter.
Yes. Item 9.
Good morning. I'm Lyle Bloom, Director with the Clermont County Water Resources Department, and item number 9 is a recommendation to execute an amendment to the contract for professional services between the Board of County Commissioners and LJB Incorporated out of Miamisburg, Ohio. This was previously ratified by the board on January 22nd, 2020, relative to the Backbone Creek Sewer Replacement Project located in Batavia Township. And this is for the provision of additional ecological surveys as outlined therein and represents an increase in the amount of $13,230 for a total revised contract amount of $78,947 and an extension of time of 30 calendar days for the completion for a revised contract completion date of August 8th, 2020, a duration of 191 consecutive calendar days exclusive of county review time, with all other terms and conditions of the original contract to remain in full force and effect and contingent upon the release of the required purchase order. So as I mentioned, these are for additional ecological surveys that are required by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. It includes jurisdictional waters delineation and the stream.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 9. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Corcoran. Yes. Painter.
Yes. Item 10.
Item number 10 is a recommendation to approve the request to advertise for bids for calcium nitrate supply and delivery for the Clermont County Water Resources Department pursuant to the specifications, and to authorize the clerk of the board to place a legal notice in a newspaper of general circulation on Thursday, May 21st, 2020. Schedule a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting on Thursday, June 11th, 2020 at 10 a.m. local time, with bids to be received until 2:00 p.m. local time on Thursday, June 18th, 2020 in the office of the Board of County Commissioners, 101 East Main Street, Batavia, where they will be publicly open and read aloud shortly thereafter. And the notice will also be posted on the county's website. So this is the calcium nitrate is an odor control chemical that we feed at our lift stations. We have 107 lift stations, and we feed this chemical at 53 of our lift station sites. The contract will be a 2-year contract with an option to renew for an additional 1 year. And we estimate that we spend about $428,000 annually on calcium nitrate.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 10. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Judy.
Corcoran. Yes. Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Painter.
Yes. Thanks, Lyle.
Thank you.
Item number 11.
Good morning.
Morning.
Item 11 is a recommendation to approve a request to extend the expiration date for the disposition of bids received on March 19th. This is for project number PID 105055 relative to the Pierce Township project. Bids expired on May 18th. We're going to extend them from May 19th to June 17th in order to provide time to review the contract documents. We actually have the contract documents in hand, and those will be provided to the board for execution very shortly.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 11 for the Pierce Township Park. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Corcoran. Yes. Painter.
Yes. Item 12.
Item 12 is a recommendation to approve a request to advertise for bids, and this will be for project number 111649 relative to the 2020 pavement marking programs in various townships. This will be pursuant to the specs. It will also authorize the clerk of the board to place the legal notice in the newspaper of general circulation for 3 consecutive weeks, starting tomorrow, May 14th, with bids to be received until 2 p.m. Thursday, June 4th. In the office of the board where they will be open and publicly read aloud. This one will be for striping on about 7 of our different town or county roads.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 12. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Suki, tap my memory here for a second. Is this striping, is this part of a grant that was received?
Right, we've got some ODOT money that's helping us. $150,000 of this is currently estimated for the 12 miles that we'll be paying. It's currently estimated about 185,000 is the engineer estimate. So the $150,000 ODOT money, they wanted us under contract by the middle of June. So thank you to Judy for getting us through and getting that advertisement out starting next week. And you worked hard on that.
Thanks, Judy.
Anything further, board? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran? Yes. Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Dana?
Yes. Item number 13. Good morning, Mary Raines.
Item 13 is a request to increase the annual appropriations for 2020 pursuant to section 570540 of the revised code for the Vista Meadows Red in the amount of $179,413.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 13. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran? Yes. Mr. Dana?
Yes. Thanks, Mary, for being in here this morning.
Commissioners, would you like a budget update from Mary while she's here before we go into executive session?
I was just going to ask. her.
Okay.
So we will modify the agenda here for a second. We'll go to item I again for county and staff elected official discussions. And Mary, the podium's yours. If you give us an update on the financial situation. And I know some of this is, no one's got a crystal ball until you actually see the data. So
Right, we're grabbing it out of the air as we go.
understood.
But we're continually monitoring for any changes, any updates that we receive from the state or anywhere we can get those. The state did release their preliminary sales tax numbers based on the March returns. And according to them, comparing this March to last March, we are down about 2%. So, but the way they're looking at it is they're looking at the current month reports. When we receive the actual money, we also get delinquencies and late filings and all those other things. So it's kind of hard to gauge, and we don't have the auto reports yet.
Okay.
So with those numbers in mind, though, I kind of adjusted what we had originally talked about is 22%, $7 million reduction. And I backed that off a little bit. Excuse me, my mask is going to fall. So that's, it's looking a little better with the retail sales open back up. Things are going to hopefully pick up. I heard it looked like Christmas time in Eastgate yesterday. So we'll see how that goes. No updates on the building inspection permits from what we had before. We're still looking at 20-25% reduction, see how things are going in there. The local government funds, again, some of that will be delayed more than a loss with the income tax being pushed over to the state fiscal year 2021. So we may get some adjustments in there, but we'll still lose the money because of the sales tax losses of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't heard anything again about casinos opening. If they're closed through the end of the month, we probably are down about 500,000. The first quarter of the year was down 7%.
Okay.
Indigent defense reimbursements, I saw the state cuts, and the Office of Public Defender did get cut. So we're likely to see a reduction there of about 200,000. Can't breathe, sorry. Some new information on reductions. Our departments are looking at their tax budgets right now. And the clerk of court gave me a phone call actually, that he's seeing a huge reduction in traffic fines. The filings are down. So that equates to lower fines, and he's seeing like a 36% reduction between March 15th and May 10th, and they dropped 85%. So depending on when things pick back up, we can multiply that for the other court costs. So it could go up to $100,000 or $500,000 reduction because the courts having to adjust their trials and so forth. So between fees and fines, that could be a large amount. And then also we're going to see effect from the other cuts of the state to other funds as well as general fund. An example of that is juvenile court. The Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections is talking about a 15 to 20% reduction in their grants. They're hoping it won't affect reclaim, but it could affect their other grant, youth service subsidy grant fund. So really depending on what it's impacting, could be anywhere from $41,000 to $240,000. Recorder's fees are still doing well. We talked about the airport grant for $69,000, CTC funding of $3.8 million, and the $500,000 from CDBG. Senate Bill 310 has passed the Ohio Senate, and that's to allocate about $350 million of the Federal CARES Act monies to local governments who don't receive money directly. That's going to be allocated based on the local government fund formulas from 2019. And they'll be restricted to use within the CARES Act guidelines that are for unbudgeted COVID-related expenses only. There's no revenue offsets there. And then there are date restrictions. We have to, whatever isn't spent by October 15th has to come back to be reallocated. And then that goes back out to those who spent their full allocation. And whatever isn't spent by the end of December has to go back to the state. The board would have to do a resolution to affirm that they're going to spend it according to the CARES Act guidelines. Other than that, budgets went out to the county offices. They're due back next Friday. And I'm sure that we'll see more of the effects. I haven't touched base with everyone yet, but I'm sure we'll see more effects on the revenue projections across the board there. And to date, the county has either spent or obligated almost $300,000 for the COVID-related expenses.
And that's all being tracked separately.
It's all being, well, that is what has been tracked.
Right.
Now, has somebody spent something that they haven't coded properly? I can't say that right now. We have to get into it deeper. But those are the ones that are
We're
coded.
tracking some of those that we think may be eligible separately and by department on different spreadsheets. So I've asked the department heads to make sure that anything they spent in relation to COVID that they're not going to code through Munis, that they keep a separate spreadsheet in case we need it. They talked a little bit about even preparation of policy by your HR department. The time spent preparing our COVID policy could be eligible as well. So we're tracking that too.
Okay. And Mary, with everything that you know, as far as where we are, as far as reserves that we have available with the very first projections, is it your feeling that it's going to be better than what we originally projected?
Yeah.
And are we financially sound to cover that if we need to?
At this point, I'd say we're financially sound to be able to cover that.
Okay.
Is it about the same? When we were first looking at it, we were talking more general fund. So now as the cuts at the state come and trickle down, we're going to see some impacts to the other funds, which then may have another impact down to the general fund. If it's something that they can't cut back on their own, they may come to the general fund asking for help.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if they're program-related funds for specific programs that the other elected officials are running. So they may have to come to the general fund in order to continue those programs if the funding doesn't come down from the state as anticipated.
Anything, board? Any questions for Mary?
No, thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Mary. We'll let you,
Thank you, Mary.
we'll let you get out of here and get out of that mask.
Oh, yeah, go back to my office. I'm glad to see I'm not the only one messing with it, trying to.
Oh,
figure
yes.
it out.
No, it is. It's tough. It's tough.
It's suffocating.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Tom, with that, I'd ask, are there any additions to the agenda?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there are no additions, then we'll go to H. I'm requesting an executive session pursuant to section 121.22 G1 and G3 and G6 of the Ohio Revised Code to first consider the employment of one or more public employees. Second, to confer with the prosecuting attorney regarding pending or imminent litigation. And third, to discuss details relative to the security arrangements and emergency response protocols for a public body or a public office respectively. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
Make the motion, but do we want to
Second.
do recess in between to give us some time, or did we even?
We can probably come back depending on, Tom, how long do you think executive session is going to take?
Oh, 30 to 40 minutes.
30 to 40? Yeah, then I'll withdraw that
Okay.
motion. Then I request a recess of this meeting until 1:30 this afternoon, if that'd be okay. I have a commitment at 12 o'clock that I have to fulfill.
We have at 2 o'clock, I believe.
That's correct.
Yeah.
CIC.
CIC.
So we'd recess it till 1:30.
Alrighty.
Do you need a motion for that?
Yeah, do I have a motion to recess?
Recess 1:30.
Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran? Yes. Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Painter?
Yes, we'll stand in recess until 1:30. Thank you.